We are good to go.
Are you recording?
I'm recording.
All right. Heidi ho! Welcome to Rapid Whole Roundtable Talks. And today we'll be covering some positive news. You got your boy MK and
Did
that's right. So I have a question for you.
hit me,
Do you like rocks?
dude. Stop. Rocks. It's okay. They're okay.
All right. Well, guess what?
What?
Some scientists have discovered low-cost ways to trap carbon using common rocks, and it can help farmers too.
Mm.
Yeah, so that brings us into our first article. Yushuan Chen holds carbon dioxide trapping materials with Matt Cannon in their lab. This is a picture of them holding some rocks. Looks like I don't know what kind of rocks.
Distracted. I'm distracted by Matt's face. I'm not trying to make fun of him. His face distracted me. Heavy.
Yeah, I ain't gonna
Heavy.
lie. I ain't gonna lie. Matt, why? Why do you look surprised and scared at the same time?
Alright, hit him
All
with the
right.
info.
So at Stanford University, some chemists have developed a practical, low-cost way to permanently remove atmospheric carbon dioxide, the main driver of global warming and climate change. The new process uses heat to transform common minerals into materials that spontaneously pull carbon from the atmosphere and permanently sequesters it. These reactive materials can be produced in conventional kilns, like those used to make cement. That's cool. The Earth has an inexhaustible supply of minerals that are capable of removing CO2 from the atmosphere, but they just don't react fast enough on their own to counteract human greenhouse gas emissions, said Matthew Canaan, a Stanford professor of chemistry and senior author of the new study in Nature. Our work solves this problem in a way that we think is uniquely scalable. In nature, common minerals called silicates react with water and atmospheric CO2 to form stable bicarbonate ions and solid carbonate minerals, a process known as weathering. However, this reaction can take hundreds to thousands of years to complete. Oof. Since the 1990s, scientists have been searching for ways to make rocks absorb carbon dioxide more rapidly through enhanced weathering techniques. Kanan and Stanford postdoctoral scholar Yushuan Shen developed a new process for converting slow weathering silicates into much more reactive minerals that can capture and store atmospheric carbon quickly. All right, I'm gonna read two more paragraphs and then I'm gonna have to let you take over.
Alright.
We envisioned a new chemistry to activate the inert silicate minerals through a simple ion exchange reaction, explained Chen. We didn't expect that it would work as well as it does. That's cool. One of the technologies experts say could prevent additional global warming is carbon capture through the air, but so far they remain costly, energy intensive, or both. By using panels or large fans to drive air through chemical or other processes to remove CO2. All right, take it over.
Or
Or should I just read
pros.
this last thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Our process would require less than half the energy used by leading direct air capture technologies, and we think we can be very competitive from a cost point of view, said Kanan.
I'm going to do some extreme paraphrasing.
Yeah, because I feel like they kind of repeating the same thing over and over, but it's okay.
Inspired by a centuries old technique for making cement. Cement production begins by converting limestone to calcium oxide in a kiln heated to about 1400 degrees Celsius. The calcium oxide is then mixed with sand to produce a key ingredient in cement. The Stanford team used a similar process in their laboratory furnace, but instead of sand, they combined calcium oxide with another mineral containing magnesium and silicate ions. When heated, the two minerals swapped ions and transformed into magnesium oxide and calcium silicate, two alkaline minerals that react quickly with acidic CO2 in the air.
Mm,
Capturing CO2 in this way could also help farmers. You could imagine spreading magnesium oxide and calcium silicate over a large land area to remove CO2 from the ambient air, Canon said. One exciting application that we're testing now is adding them to agricultural soil. As they weather, the minerals transform into bicarbonates
Oh,
that can move through the soil and end up permanently stored in the ocean. Kanan said this approach could have co-benefits for farmers who typically add calcium carbonate to soil to increase the pH if it's too low, a process called liming. Adding our
mm.
product would eliminate the need for liming since both mineral components are alkaline, he explained. In addition, as calcium silicate weathers, it releases silicon to the soil in a form that the plants can take up, which can improve crop yields and resilience. Ideally, farmers would pay for these minerals because they're beneficial to farm productivity and the health of the soil, and as a bonus, the carbon removal.
All right. Using mining sites worldwide. Currently, Kanan's lab can produce only 15 kilos for y'all druggies out there, which is 33 pounds of material a week. But the same kiln designs now used to make cement could produce the amount of materials needed to tackle CO2 because of the abundant magnesium silicates, such as olivine or serpentine, which is found in California, the Balkans, and many other regions. These are also common leftover materials or trailings from mining. Oh, that's what's up. So, anyway, each year, more than 400 million tons of mine tailings with suitable silicates are generated worldwide, providing a potentially large source of raw material, Chen said. It's estimated that there are more than 100,000 gigatons of olivine and serpentine reserves on Earth, enough to permanently remove far more CO2 than humans have ever emitted. A gigaton is equal to 1 billion metric tons, or about 1.1 billion tons. And also, 1400 degrees Celsius is equal to 2552 Fahrenheit.
Interesting.
That's the end of the article.
Not really.
Oh, it's not?
But it's okay.
Oh, right. I just had a little bit more. Okay, after accounting for emissions associated with burning natural gas or biofuel to power the kilns, the researchers estimate each ton of reactive material could remove 1 ton of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Each ton can remove 1 ton. Okay. The team is also developing kilns that run on electricity instead of burning fossil fuels, and a grant is already funding their efforts to move the research into practical applications.
Sounds cool.
What country is this developed in? Well, he says Stanford, so that's America.
Yeah.
That's in California, I guess. That's cool.
But wouldn't using electricity still have to end up using fossil fuels? That's what electricity comes about.
Yes,
Okay.
because you still have to make the batteries
Yeah, I didn't
for
want
it.
to be that guy. I was just thinking out loud.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in the short run, it might use as much fossil fuels, but in the long run, maybe it uses less. I don't quite know the math.
Yeah.
We need
Maybe
somebody
solar.
in the chat to. What is that?
Solar would be good, but I know it's probably a lot of energy.
Yeah, solar would probably be good, but again, the same amount of fossil fuel potentially might be used to create the solar cells. But again, in the long run, it might outperform and
Yeah.
actually use it.
That's cool.
But I think this is awesome. This is like exciting to hear actually.
I wouldn't use that word, but yeah.
Because you know why?
No.
I can leave all my lights on and I don't have to worry.
That's not even the same.
Oh man.
Ooh.
All right.
This
So
is
let's get
another
into
one that's it's kind of like both. You know what? Go ahead.
what happened.
Just go ahead.
Okay. Well, I have another question before I start.
Okay.
Do you like wood? Pause.
Why?
Don't answer that. All right. The world's first all timber wind turbine blades are cheaper, recyclable, fire resistant, and stronger than carbon fiber. All right. So before I even start, I already know your question, which is Are they cutting down timber to try and make this more energy? Like what?
Yeah.
That's why I immediately thought when I first saw this article, I was like, they're trying to solve the current problem by cutting down trees. Well, let's read. Let's see
Yeah,
what
yeah,
what
yeah,
is
yeah.
saying. A company making wooden wind turbine blades has successfully tested a 50-meter long prototype that's set to debut soon in the Indian and European markets. Last year, the German firm Wooden successfully demonstrated that their laminated veneer timber blades could be fabricated, adapted, and installed at a lower cost than existing blades while maintaining performance. Now, Wooden has announced a partnership with the Indian wind company Senvion to supply its 4.2 megawatt turbines with these wooden blades for another trial run. Wind power has accumulated more than a few demerit points for several shortfalls in the overall industry of this fossil fuel alternative. Some of these, such as the impact on bird life, are justified, but none more so than the fact that the turbine blades are impossibly or nearly impossible to recycle, and that they need to be changed every 25 years. I did not know that. Wind turbine blades are made from a mixture of glass and carbon fiber heated together with a sticky epoxy resin, and these materials can't be separated once combined, which means they go into landfills or are incinerated when they become too battered to safely operate. So it actually creates more greenhouse gases? I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, at the end of their life cycle, most blades are buried in the ground or incinerated. This means that at this pace, we will end up with 50 million tons of blade material wasted by 2050, Wooden Blade Technology CEO Mr. Seekman said recently. With our solution, we want to help green energy truly become as green as possible. The last 15 years have seen rapid growth in another industry called mass timber. This state-of-the-art manufacturing technique sees panels of lumber heat pressed, cross-laminated, and glued into a finished product that's being used to make skyscrapers, airports, and more. At the end of the day, though, mass timber products are still wood and can be recycled in a variety of ways. The blades are not only innovative technology, an innovative technological advancement, but a significant leap towards sustainable wind production, said Seekman, adding that this isn't a case of pay more to waste less. The blades cost around 20% less than carbon fiber, actually. Additionally, the added flexibility of wooden blades should allow for taller towers and longer blades, potentially boosting the output of turbines by accessing higher wind speeds. Now partnered with Wooden, Senvion will begin feasibility analysis in the next few months before official testing begins around 2027. And that is the whole article.
Interesting.
So my question is, what exactly is mass timber products? Mass timber
It's just
products.
building materials, that's all.
But I guess my real question is, do they have to cut down trees to like more trees to do this, or are they using like existing stuff? Or are they growing their own timber, cutting it down, and then, you know what I mean? Like,
Keep talking.
that's what I'm curious about. You looking up? Yeah, so if they are using their own grown timber, then okay, I could see it in a way. But if they have to cut down like the rainforest or something to do this, is like, mm,
It sounds like it's coming from a farm. Mass timber comes from sustainably managed forests in North America, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. The most common wood species used are Douglas fir, spruce, and pine. The wood is typically harvested from younger trees which have a lower environmental impact, true. Sawmill residue are also used, minimizing waste. The forests are designed and grown specifically for mass timber projects. The timber is grown and harvested at regular intervals.
All right. So
Okay.
it does sound like it actually is
Yeah.
more green for sure.
Sustainable mass timber preserves biodiversity, water quality, and ancient old growth trees. That's good.
Mm. Yeah, I like that. I like both of the things that we just talked about. They're kind of in the same realm.
Yeah. The trees come from British Columbia, Canada, China, Brazil, Mexico, and Germany. The ones that we get imported here. So I guess
Nice.
each one of these places have their own like tree farms.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
finally finding good news that's like good news.
Yeah. Hey. I did read the first two sentences in each article to make
That's
sure.
not enough.
Okay. I have one last question for you, bro.
Yo, okay.
Do you like breathing?
I love breathing.
All right. Because
Yo,
countries are breathing the cleanest air in centuries and offer lessons to the rest of us. That's the title, at least. All right. An article at Our World in Data recently explored trends. This is funny because this is like Inception. We're doing, we're reading a article off of Good News Network, and Good News Network is citing an article off of Our World in Data. Anyway, I thought it was cool. Anyway, this article recently explored trends in air quality across a selection of high and middle income countries and found that not only is the West breathing better air than at perhaps any point since urbanization, but that developing nations likely won't need 100 years or more to arrive at a similar outcome. So this was published by Hannah Ritchie. The article focuses on two kinds of gases emitted from industrial activity: sulfur dioxide, which is SO2, and nitrogen oxide, which is NOx. Both enter the air we breathe from the burning of fossil fuels, coal in particular, while the latter is emitted mostly from internal combustion engines. Oh, so NOx is from cars, basically. Bad air quality is responsible for millions of lost life years worldwide, from respiratory problems, cardiovascular issues, and neurological diseases, all of which can develop and become exasperated under prolonged exposure to air pollutants. And then they give us a little graph here that shows sulfur dioxide emissions. Let's see, the
immediately
x-axis is
started
what?
thinking stocks. I was like, that's a double top.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that means it's gonna go up.
No, it's gonna go down.
Oh, double top is down.
Remember, it
Oh yeah, with the
hit,
M.
yes.
Oh, sorry, we shouldn't be learning talking about stocks right now. But yeah, double top goes down. Got it. Okay, but this graph is basically showing that the years across the years from 1800 to 2022, what the sulfur dioxide emissions are in million. I don't know what the T stands for. Let's
Probably
see.
tons with the E at the end. The British one, you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
not American one.
So, um, as seen in this chart, emissions of SO2 have just dipped under levels seen as the earliest periods of British industrialization. Before this, city and town air quality would have been badly tainted through emissions of wood smoke. So it's safe to assume that 2022 marked the best British air in many centuries, not just the last two. And actually, it looks like it's below it. SO2 enters the ambient air primarily in urban environments through the burning of coal, and the significant reduction in coal use across the West has seen this number plummet. But as regards middle income countries like China and India that still rely on coal for electricity, all is not lost, as the next chart shows. So there's another chart that shows coal consumption and sulfur dioxide emissions from 1965 to 2023, and it's looking at the UK, the US, China, and India. And let's see, looking at coal consumption use versus sulfur dioxide emissions. And we see that in America, coal consumption was going up, but the sulfur SO2 emissions were actually going down, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but now both are going down. And then in China is also the same, kind of like America, is like coal consumption is going up, but then you see the graph kind of going down around 2008-ish.
Yeah.
Um, but India is both are going up basically, and it's kind of following very closely with each
Mm-hmm.
other. The UK is both going down. That's interesting. Okay, so while the UK consumption of coal and emissions of SO2 have fallen in lockstep, the US and China represent, no, let me stop calling it China. China present an excellent case study for nations like India, the fourth example, who rely on coal for electricity. Even if coal consumption is increasing, SO2 emissions can fall even below baseline with the diligent application of existing technologies for scrubbing coal. In 1990, the US included a cap and trade scheme on SO2 as part of the Clean Air Act amendments. Richie writes, each coal plant was given a cap for how much SO2 it could emit, forcing it to either implement technologies to reduce its emissions, trade credits with other plants, or pay a large fine for every ton of extra sulfur it emitted. By the way, and all right, I'm not going to bring politics into this. This was hugely successful as over just a single decade, emissions had dropped double-digit percentages. Scrubbers are an apparatus that clean the gases passing through the smokestack of coal-burning power plant. They exist as large towers in which aqueous mixtures of lime or limestone absorbers are sprayed through the emissions known as flue gases exiting a coal boiler. The limestone absorbs some of the sulfur from the flue gases.
That's why this
These have
stuff
been
go up and go down.
what you say?
That's why even though coal goes up, sulfur goes down.
Yeah, because they basically clean it before it gets out into the atmosphere.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. These have been used to tremendous effect in China, which, despite tripling its coal use since 2000, has actually reduced SO2 emissions to pre-2000 levels. India does not use nor does it mandate coal scrubbers, which explains its upward trajectory in both use and emissions. One important note that the article failed to mention, if a country is burning coal, it means they aren't burning wood or dung. While seemingly more natural than coal or oil, these produce their own, more significant health hazards, as the particulate matter in wood smoke is much higher and higher than smoke from fossil fuels. Air quality, who burns dung? Anyway, air quality in a city, uh, that's a bad joke. I was going to say, it must be,
Don't.
smell real shitty. Air quality in a city will increase if switching to coal from wood and dung in the same way that switching from coal to natural gas will accomplish the same. Additionally, more years of life will be lost for having no electricity compared to coal-powered electricity. Oh, that's true. But not all emissions come from power production. Nitrogen oxide is generated through the burning of gasoline, diesel, and kerosene in internal combustion engines, and much like SO2 emissions, there exists a gradual upward trend throughout the 20th century. And then this graph here is of nitrogen oxide emissions from transport in China, South Africa, Brazil, India, Bangladesh, and Rwanda. Just looking at all of them start from 1950s, a little bit before 1950s actually, and goes to 2022. Oh no, no, they actually do start in 1950, and then they go to 2022.
Ah.
But yeah, bro, can you help a brother out?
Uh, where you stop? Sorry.
I'm looking at the nitrogen oxide emissions from transport graph,
Mm,
and it's all the graphs are trending up, pretty
yeah,
much.
because that's from cars, right?
Yeah, some of them are trending down though, like China and South Africa,
In
and
Brazil.
a little bit in Brazil,
Yeah.
but the rest of it they're trending up.
Mm. In the UK, NOx emissions have fallen to levels seen in 1950, even as the number of road driven miles in the country has steadily increased to near the highest levels in the country's history. This was largely accomplished by increase in fuel efficiency and exhaust systems on automobiles mandated by the EU in the 1900s. The Euro 1 rating was introduced in 1992, and the bloc is now on Euro 6. To comply
Mm.
with regulations, car manufacturers have had to innovate on technologies that can reduce the emissions of NOx and other pollutants from car exhaust, writes Ritchie. These technologies have included catalytic converters, filters for particulate matter, gas recirculation, which lowers the temperature of combustion and therefore produces less NOx from the exhaust. In the chart
Mm.
above, the nations of South Africa, Brazil, and China are those that have adopted similar emission standards, while those below are those that haven't,
Oh, okay.
demonstrating how quickly these harmful emissions can be cut out of the air if smart regulations are imposed. Beijing, once synonymous with face masks and grimy skies, now enjoys a routine weather phenomenon called the Beijing Blue. In other words, a blue sky. This, GNN reported, was accomplished by a war on pollution that led to an average life expectancy increase of 4 years for the average Beijing ring.
Interesting.
I
So
don't like.
why is
Sorry.
our current person in charge of the country putting all of this out? Doesn't make sense. But anyway, go ahead. What you were gonna say?
I don't. I understand the point of having like a strong punchline for things, but it's always like a war on something. War on
Yeah,
drugs, war on this. It's
yeah,
like, let's just say the anti-pollution regime, or not regime, but like movement, or it's like it,
yeah.
you can do things without going to war on them.
Right. Can we have a war on war? Like, come on, no.
Ah, for real.
That's like, like they just. I feel like humans need to like have something to fight against, and I guess that's what they're trying to invoke. Like, we need to
Yeah,
fight against this. Like,
yeah. That and seeing things like in a like the arena, the
yeah,
gladiators.
yeah,
Yeah, we also have to rally
yeah,
behind something like that.
yeah.
But in this
We
case, it
are,
worked, so I'm good. I'm good with it.
yeah, we're a very warlike species.
Yeah.
Kind of like we're Saiyans in a way. All right. Well, that's it for the good news. As a fellow Saiyan, I hope you have a nice day. Hope you have a nice week, guys. It's Monday. Happy Monday. And shout outs to I couldn't get the name I wanted on YouTube. He streams video games. That's his
We're not
logo.
gonna cross pollinate, man.
Oh, we
All
gonna
just
cross
being funny.
pollinate. We're gonna cross pollinate. Is that shirt on sale in your shop or anything?
It is. It is.
Oh, what's the you know what? Just drop me the link on Discord and I'll make sure I put it in the comments
All right.
for this video. All right, guys. Take care. We love you and thanks for watching. Peace.
Peace.